from Florida.
Hi, David.
You wanted to talk about science and the supernatural, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what you got?
How do you know that science would be used fairly to evaluate the supernatural?
How do we know it would?
Yeah.
We don't?
What's your evidence if you don't?
Science would be trying to verify things that we can test in the physical world.
Right.
And if we have something like that, we can use science to try to understand the cause and such. There is a thing called methodological naturalism where we don't assume there's a supernatural, we don't assume there's gods, but we're open to the possibility, and we just, because we know nothing about gods, we don't sort of try to leap to that as a conclusion in science as a first thing. What we need is quite a bit of evidence for a God before we try to decide what God's doing or whether he's making miracles or these sorts of things. So,
but can science be used to fairly assess it? Because I could show you evidence of things that are real and tangible in the real world, but contrary to science, people still don't believe it.
Right. So should we?
Well,
is the evidence?
They're like,
give me your best example. How about that?
Okay. The rule of nature is reproduction, right?
There's a rule of nature?
Survival of the fittest, reproduction, right?
Well,
who made up the rules?
Species that don't reproduce don't tend to live on, right? And they tend to die out. And so as a result of that, we have a lot of species that have a drive to reproduce. That's pretty much how I would say it. I wouldn't say it's a rule.
Right. To claim that it's a rule is a stretch.
No, it's pretty much there's no life without reproduction. That's not that's the law of nature.
There's no life without reproduction.
Because we die, right? We have to reproduce, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm okay with that.
Right. So here's my tangible evidence that people believe things outside are contrary to science. Now, there's only an XX chromosome and an XY chromosome that makes...
Wait. So are you saying that because people believe things outside of science, other people should?
What I'm sitting there saying is...
Are you saying that?
Science can't be set... If you let me finish, first off, there's only male and female in science, but people believe that they're transgendered. That's only their opinion because their opinions go outside the physical evidence of male and female.
Well, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. There's multiple chromosomes. There's developmental things that can go on. I don't know. It's not quite as black and white. So are you saying that that this is something that science is ignoring? I would disagree with that.
What I'm saying is that science only shows male and female with physical attributes with X and X and X and Y chromosomes. But people sit there and say they're a different gender is only a mental declaration of what they are. But there's no physical evidence to substantiate that.
So what's your definition of gender?
So here's
the other thing.
What's your definition of gender?
Okay, we've gotten off the God subject quite a bit here.
Yeah.
No, what I'm sitting there trying to show you is that science is not morally able to sit there to obsess and sit there and, how do I put this, dissect the natural or the divine, the supernatural and the divine.
Right, you're saying that science can't prove anything for the supernatural.
Okay.
No, science gave us eugenics, didn't it?
Science gave us eugenics.
And at one point, science declared homosexuality a mental disorder?
It did not. That was a social. That was a social process.
Yeah, I don't think that you're being very honest, and I don't really like your approach right now.
There's evidence that you can look at all this.
Science is not about.
So how can you sit there and use something that's morally corrupt to evaluate evidence of something that's divine?
Wait, are you claiming that science is morally corrupt?
Multiple examples.
Excuse me,
science is corrupt.
Jonathan, can we take a deep breath, please? Let's try to have a calm discussion. Okay, let's try to talk and not talk over each other.
Every time I call y'all sit there and hang up. Y'all sit there.
Well, we haven't hung up on you yet.
We're getting close.
Well, then go ahead. I made my point.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Okay.